I'm not exaggerating when I say that the following 3 books are worth 300 books of wisdom, if applied. Avoid skipping parts of this video because it's essential to understand why the following books have been chosen, and I'll also share some core ideas from the books. My choices are based on reading close to 500 books and filtering through thousands, having set up a life where I have plenty of free time and do what I love at age 26, and experiencing states of love, joy, and peace on a regular basis. So in no particular order, the first book is The Almanac of Naval Ravikant by Eric Jorgensen. The podcast episode of Joe Rogan with Naval has been hailed as one of the best episodes of all time. Since Joe's moved to Spotify, most of the episodes on YouTube have been deleted, but this one remains for good reason. Great choice, Jamie. So just a few minutes of listening to Naval and you can tell that he's someone worth listening to. He's an investor and founded the massive Silicon Valley 8-figure recruiting company AngelList. He's taken an interesting turn into spirituality, although never uses that term, and speaks to young people from the standpoint of a wealthy and happy entrepreneur. His book has a ridiculously high rating of 4.6 out of 5 stars, with over 7,000 ratings on Goodreads.com, which probably puts it in the top 0.1% of all books. The book focuses on 6 things: building wealth, building judgment, learning happiness, saving yourself, philosophy, and Naval's book recommendations. Here are my top 5 highlights from the book. The first is that the year I generated the most wealth for myself was actually the year I worked the least hard and cared the least about the future. Choosing what city to live in can almost completely determine the trajectory of your life, but we spend so little time trying to figure out what city to live in. Number 3, doing something because you should basically means you don't actually want to do it. Number 4, want to become smarter in 10 minutes? Absorb this. Crony Beliefs by Kevin Simler. And number 5, life hack. When in bed, meditate. Either you'll have a deep meditation or fall asleep. Victory either way. The second book is The Book on the Taboo of Knowing Who You Are by Alan Watts. The key question in this book is, who are you really? In a pleasant manner, Watts prods a stick at you to help you realize that you aren't who you think you are. To realize this through direct experience, not just intellectually, will change your life permanently for the better, even if it's terrifying at first. If you grasp what Watts is saying, you'll be shocked just how many assumptions you make on a daily basis and how you've crafted your life around something which is essentially an illusion. Great companion books to this are Stillness Speaks for simple sentences to help evoke direct experience of no self. The Book of Not Knowing by Peter Ralston has more advanced techniques for deconstructing your sense of self. And finally, the guided Neti Neti by Actualize.org video here on YouTube is what led me to have my first direct experience of seeing through the illusion of who I thought I was. So check it out after this video if you're interested. Here's the top 5 highlights from readers from Goodreads.com. The first, problems that remain persistently insoluble should always be suspected as questions asked in the wrong way. Number 2, how is it possible that a being with such sensitive jewels as the eyes, such enchanted musical instruments as the ears, and such fabulous arabesque of nerves as the brain can experience itself anything less than a god? Number 3, other people teach us who we are. Their attitudes to us are the mirror in which we learn to see ourselves, but the mirror is distorted. We are, perhaps, rather dimly aware of the immense power of our social environment. This fourth one's really long, so feel free to pause the video and read it yourself. And number 5, irrevocable commitment to any religion is not only intellectual suicide, it is positive unfaith because it closes the mind to any new vision of the world. Faith is, above all, openness, an act of trust in the unknown. The third and final book, Letting Go by David Hawkins. I kept hearing about this book everywhere, but there were so many other books I wanted to read. I finally gave in after I heard it recommended in a conversation between 8-figure entrepreneurs Noah Kagan and Tucker Max.
This is the book you need to read next. I read this after Surrender Experiment. Changed my life. It's called Letting Go by David Hawkins. It's his best book. He's a pretty famous guy in the woo-woo spiritual space, but he's really good. You will really like it.
As Tucker mentioned, even if you are averse to the whole spiritual or woo-woo scene, this book is for you because it is straightforward, pragmatic, and based on decades of research. It's part of my spiritual book list and book notes for rational people, which you can find by clicking the link in the description. I find the book extremely useful as a measuring stick for the progress I'm making towards a fulfilling life, or more specifically, self-actualization. The book contains Hawkins' map of consciousness to help you identify your low emotional states and gives great suggestions on how to move up to higher states. Acceptance is where life gets really good, and love is where life is absolutely amazing. It will shatter what you thought love was. There's a strong feeling of completeness. It's like the dopamine in your system is finally behaving, and so you don't feel like you ever need to crave for junk food, sex, attention, money, or power, because the love you feel inside yourself is enough, as cheesy as that might sound. Here are my top 5 highlights. Number 1 is that one of the biggest hurdles to happiness, he tells us, is a belief that it isn't possible. Next, letting go involves being aware of a feeling, letting it come up, staying with it, and letting it run its course without wanting to make it different or do anything about it. Number 3, the fastest way to move from the bottom to the top is by telling the truth to ourselves and to others. Number 4, the main stress to the majority of us most of the time is not due to external stimuli, but to the pressure of our own suppressed emotions. And number 5, just look at what you would not want others to know about you and begin to surrender it.